Hello and welcome back to Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar and I'm coming at you from the 256. I wanted to start off by apologizing for no video yesterday. I was going to there wasn't a whole lot that really went on, so I was going to watch some YouTube videos of like plays from the NFL last year, have a reaction, kind of talk about them, that kind of thing, but the internet just wasn't having it here at the house yesterday, so I could not do that and it just didn't work out. I couldn't get anything together, and I highly apologize for that. Also, another thing is the 9 to 10 o'clock every day. I'll probably just change it to a video a day at any time throughout the day because things have been popping up to making it harder to where it's within that time constraint. So we'll just take the time constraint off of it and have it throughout the day, at any time throughout the day. So with that out of the way, I just wanted to go ahead and start this video. Today, I'm going to talk about the new NCAA basketball rule. It's huge. It's a huge rule for college basketball, and I want to go over the NFL, the preseason Week 1 schedule, just very briefly. But I wanted to start with the new college basketball rule that came out today. Today, the NCAA adopted a huge series of policy and rule changes that they hope will help clean up basketball a little bit more, because as you saw last year with all the FBI investigation and everything that's been going on or went on, it was just a big mess. So they're trying to clean that up in corresponding with the NBA all at the same time. But the first rule is the NBA draft rule. That is the first thing that is really mentioned each time I've seen it talked about, and even in the article where I helped get some of this info. But NBA draft, and this is pending the anticipated approval by the NBA and the NBA Players Association. The NCAA will now allow underclassmen to enter the draft, participate in combine activities, and then return to school if they go undrafted in that draft. The only requirements that they will have of that player or individual is that they request an evaluation from the NBA Undergraduate Advisory Council before deciding to enter the draft, and then if they are not drafted, they must notify the school's athletic director of their intentions to return to school by 5 p.m. on the Monday after the draft. Players who return would be ineligible for the NBA draft until the completion of the next college basketball season. So that's actually a rule I like, because kids can be told something or think that they're better than they are, or a certain number of things be told they're better than they are, whatever it may be, get there, and then they're just flat on their face without anything to fall back on. So I do like that rule, exactly how it's stated there. But we'll move on to the next point, is enforcement, about rules enforcement. So the NCAA is changing the process for the investigation of complex cases involving rule violations. There will be 2 independent groups that will be appointed to oversee and resolve those complex cases which may involve academic misconduct, major penalties, adversarial behavior. It will apply to all sports in Division 1. Not just basketball. This will apply to every Division I sport. The school presidents and athletic staffs will be held more accountable for cooperating with investigations and investigators. They will be contractually obligated to report violations in a timely manner and possibly provide documentation and evidence when asked. Coaches and staff members who do break those NCAA rules they'll face more severe penalties now with this new set of rules, which will include longer postseason bans of up to 5 years, longer head coach suspensions beyond 1 season, and longer employment limitations, potentially lifetime show cause orders, which is effective immediately right now today. I really like that one as well, because I mean, some of these people, they do something wrong, they get a slap on the wrist, and that's it. Or they get nothing, or just a handful of things. The show cause Uh, as you can see with Auburn coach Bruce Pearl, his was 3 years, 4 years, just a few years that he had to sit out, but he blatantly violated NCAA rules, knowingly did that, and they put a show cause on him, and he missed those 3 or 4 years, and then went right back to another major school in Auburn when he was previously at Tennessee. Then he just moved on to another big school, and now he's there, and there's more issues there, more recruiting NCAA rules violations there currently happening. Not directly related to him, but it's still part of his staff, still surrounding him. Not a good look, but like that as well. People should, if they mess up, they should face they should face those the effects or the penalties of what they do, and having stiffer penalties make you adhere to the rules a little bit harder. Agents is another big one. This was a basketball only one rule that comes from this rule because it is particularly mainly with basketball. But the NCAA will allow college players to be represented by NBA Player Association certified agents beginning after any season or at the end of the season, as long as they have requested an evaluation from the NBA undergraduate advisory committee. Agents are permitted to pay for meals and transportation. That is still in the works, but that is what they're working for. And agent agreements must be in writing and will be terminated when the student enrolls or returns to college. With the student enrolls, this is a rule that's also written for high school players because a lot of people are anticipating the NBA dropping the age limit to where high schoolers can declare again. So the student enrolls part is for NBA draft if the NBA draft age is lowered. So the agents can represent those high school players as well. But no issue with that one. I mean that they gotta have somebody to help set these things up because a lot of them don't know what's going on, or it just helps them get their foot in the door and speak to somebody. As long as everything's followed the right way, because agents has been a big thing, especially in basketball, that's been coming up in recent years. I mean, it's been a thing for a while, but that's fine as long as everything's handled how it's supposed to be handled. They had just a quick thing about recruiting. Basketball prospects will now be able to take as many as 15 official visits to schools. That's where the school pays for, brings them in, shows them around, does all that on the own school's funds. The school pays for that. The student athlete can only visit a particular campus only once a year. And I forgot to mention, with the 15 official visits, that's compared to 5. It was only 5 before, but now they can visit up to 15 schools over a certain amount of time. That there's different time constraints on that, but over a certain amount of time they can have 15 official visits. There was also an academic aspect to this rule, but this doesn't go into effect until August 2019, so a year from now. D1 schools will be required to pay for tuition, books, and fees for scholarship basketball players who leave and return within 10 years to the same school to earn their first degree. But the only players that attended the school for at least 2 years are eligible for that. So you can't just pop in for a couple months, leave, and come, and then if you flop, come back. So you have to at least be with the school or in school for 2 years for that to be eligible. The NCAA is also establishing a fund for schools that are financially unable to pay for those players that return to school. Just one more thing that they talked about, because this was another thing, is summer basketball becoming a part where things can take a turn or people can be pulled in. A lot of illegal things can take place, but this is effective in next January. Basketball-related events for high school students will be more scrutinized during certification to address concerns about corruption and third-party influence among high school players. So outside influences trying to influence kids to go to this school, go to that school, sign with these people, sign with that person, that kind of thing. But the new calendar will allow coaches to attend more high school sponsored events. So going to where this kid actually plays high school to watch them play and talk to them there instead of at summer league events, because the summer league events is where a lot of influence and a lot of the bad things that have been going on with recruiting have been taking place. And also, it will it will take away access from those non-high school sponsored events. It's trying to minimize that, so you're actually corresponding with that kid at his school without without agents or somebody trying to get in on it. Um, there was also a part about apparel companies, because I know Adidas was a big part of this FBI investigation. It was Adidas, I believe, that was a part of this latest thing. But coaches have to report to the school if they receive over $600 in apparel outside of what the school gives them, outside of school sponsorship, like things they receive, other endorsements that they have. They have to report anything over $600 to the school, and then the NCAA wants those apparel companies to send reports of money, or to make their reports available, where the money's been going, how it's being spent, those kind of things. But the rules, I like the having to spending more time at the high school with the student, because you eliminate people trying to weasel their way in and talk talk their way into things. That's how it all always begins. Got to persuade somebody, or trying to persuade somebody. The academic one, nothing wrong with that. It's always good if somebody wants to go back and get their education. Nothing wrong with that. Recruiting, a kid gets to go visit more places. Not really a big deal. Um, but overall, I like the rule changes they made. Like they said, they're trying to clean it up. Some of these things could be applied across the board. Obviously, all of them are basketball only, except for the enforcement part about players getting in trouble. I mean, coaches and suspensions and all that kind of stuff. Uh, all good. I like these changes that they made. Nobody should be against, in my opinion, nobody should be against that. But um, everybody has their own opinion. I like the changes that they are trying to enact, or that were officially enacted today. We'll move on to the preseason schedule for starting tomorrow. Well, I'll give you the whole weekend schedule for preseason football. Football's back. I know it's not official, meaningful football, but it's football. So it's enjoyable to at least put on the TV, because there's not been a whole lot to put on. Baseball, if you're a baseball fan. If you're not, then what have you been watching? Um, um, but it just goes as follow. I'll just go over it real quick. Uh, all these times you do see on screen are Central Time, as you can see there. Central Time. But you have the Panthers will be taking on the Bills. You have the Chicago Bears in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be visiting one of their Florida neighbors, Miami Dolphins. Sorry, thinking baseball. Miami Dolphins. They will be in Miami tomorrow. The NFL Network. There's only 2 games nationally televised, but this one will be on the NFL Network. The Browns. A lot of people might want to watch that one. See number 1 pick taking on the New York Giants. The Steelers, Battle of Pennsylvania there. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They will be in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Jacksonville Jaguars will be at home to take on the New Orleans Saints. The New England Patriots will be at home to take on the Washington Redskins. The Los Angeles Rams will visit the Baltimore Ravens. Cross-country trip there. The Titans will head north to take on the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. The Houston Texans will take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Dallas Cowboys will be at the San Francisco 49ers. That one will also be televised on the NFL Network. And then you have the Colts going west to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And those are all for Thursday, August 9th, tomorrow. Friday, you have 2 games. You have the Atlanta Falcons will be in New York to take on the New York Jets. That will be nationally televised, 6:30 Central Friday night on the NFL Network, 6:30, August 10th, Friday. And then the Detroit Lions will be in Oakland to take on the Raiders. That will follow the Falcons and Jets game on the NFL Network, and that will be approximately 9:30 Central Time. Saturday, you have 2 more games. Only one will be nationally televised, and that will be the Minnesota Vikings at the Denver Broncos on the NFL Network, 8 o'clock Central on Saturday night. And then you have the Los Angeles almost wanted to say Rams again. The Los Angeles Chargers, excuse me, I apologize, will be at the Arizona Cardinals, 9 o'clock Central. That is the preseason schedule for this weekend, for Thursday to August 9th, Friday August 10th, and Saturday August 11th. Tomorrow, I might try to do, depending on what happens for the rest of the day and early morning tomorrow or throughout the day tomorrow, I might do a reaction video like I was going to do for some of the plays from the NFL last year, bad plays, good plays. We'll just see what's out there that I can watch and talk about and watch for you guys, or watch with you guys, I should say. But that will do it for this episode. Again, I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry that there was no video yesterday, but the internet's not working for what I was trying to do. I was trying to watch a YouTube video, talk about it, react to it, whatever you want to say. Unfortunately, that did not happen due to the internet. But like I said, may try that tomorrow, do something a little different, depending on what's going on news-wise. But if you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Again, like I always say, it is very appreciated. But this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow.